Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to be talking about The Hiding Place tonight. Oh, I just saw Katie that you had messaged. Yeah, so we're excited to be talking about The Hiding Place. I have two versions right here in front of me.
That's
awesome. And I'm joined by some wonderful, lovely ladies. We're just going to wait just a second before we do introductions. Let people kind of trickle in a little bit. We'll see how many. Say hello if you're here and where you're coming from. Love to kind of see where everybody's at. And in the comments, answer if this is your first time reading Hiding Place or if you've read it before and you're rereading it, whatever. We will answer that as well. All of us will answer that.
This is my second time reading it. I read it in high school, so this is
gonna
be fun. Bringing back some nostalgia.
For sure. The same for me. I think the last time I read it was in high school. And so it's been really cool to revisit it. I mean, the name Corrie Ten Boom, like a lot of it I remember, but as I'm reading it, I don't remember it. I just know like a little bit of her story.
Yeah. There's also a great movie for this book too.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a great movie. I don't remember what year it was produced, but I remember watching a great movie about this book. So I'll have to look it up.
Okay, cool. So we've got some friends popping in. Yay! Yay for Virginia. Hello, Virginia.
Hello.
Kim, did I know? I think I knew you were in Virginia. Of course I did. Wisconsin. Hi, Jill. A reread for you.
Nice.
First time for Jennifer in Canada. Hello. Welcome, Jennifer. Chicago area.
Yay, Chicago area. Sorry. I'm from the suburbs of Chicago originally, so.
That's your accent. I knew you had one.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Chrissy's in the house. This is my first time reading. Oh my goodness, Chrissy, you are gonna love this book. I cannot wait. Oh man.
I love her name, Purple Library.
I get so excited when people read a book that I love for the first time.
Yes.
It just makes my heart so happy.
I know.
Hello from Indianapolis. Very cool. Grandma Susan. Hello, hello, Jeanette. First time reading for you. Jeanette, oh my word, I can't believe this is your first time too. Some of you all, I'm surprised. But it is an older book, so I guess I'm not that surprised. It is pretty old.
It's a classic. It's really good.
Yeah. A lot that I didn't remember. Same, Jen. Hello from Texas. Reread changed my life. Oh, I know. I did not know there was a movie. So
yes, we have to watch the movie. We'll have to find when it was.
No.
We'll find out
where it's streaming. If it's streaming somewhere or like where to find it.
I think it's older, from the 90s. Let's see.
Probably. Tammy's first time reading. So excited. And Lisa.
There's
hello.
Actually a 2023 movie retelling.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Movie night on your YouTube.
I love it. First time reading and I'm loving it. Wonderful. Okay, so let me go ahead and we're going to dive right in. So the plan is to spend about an hour chit-chatting about the first 7 chapters. And then we'll do 8 till the end next week. And so the first part is really a lot of backstory. But before we get into it, I'm going to have these lovely women introduce themselves and their channels. Some of them are brand spanking new or like sort of new to the YouTube thing, BookTube thing. However, Leah Beth and Wendy both, your editing.
Thank you.
I feel like it's the worst.
I watch your videos and I'm like, but what do you use? Because I'm like, I can't even do that stuff.
iMovie on my Mac.
It's so funny. I love it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. Anyways, introduce yourselves and share if this is your first time or a reread. Yeah.
Okay. So I am Leah Beth, but you can call me Leah. And my channel, my new YouTube channel, is Book Time. And I'm so happy to be here. This is my second time reading it, and it's so great. And I think it's true that like the second time you go through, you glean and you learn a lot more. So it's really exciting. This is also my mom's favorite book. So she's so excited. I just got off the phone with her. She's like, I can't believe you're all reading it. So it's really great. And yes, I'm new to BookTube. I'm loving this community. I love you, Christy. Just everyone is so sweet. It's been so nice. And yeah, just super happy to be here.
Perfect. Katie.
I'm Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails. This is actually my first time reading this book. I'm already completely in love with it already. Like, it's more emotional knowing it's nonfiction than fiction for me. So I know it's going to break my heart, but it's also really encouraging too. And I've been on BookTube now for almost 3 years. Yeah, 3 years now almost.
Awesome.
Love it.
Hi, my name is Wendy. I'm from Wendy's Inspired Reads, and I just started my channel a couple months ago. And this is my first time reading it. My sister actually was the one that gave me the book. She absolutely loved it. She's been following you for a while, Krista, and she's
Oh,
like always following your sprints and stuff. But I actually ended up reading it early. So like last month I was like, "Oh, I'll just start early cuz it'll take me a while," and I finished it in like a week.
yeah.
And I was like, "Oh man, I hope I like remember like what was chapter 7 and left behind."
Mhm.
Because I couldn't stop, like I was so into I love historical fiction. So I was well, this is obviously a true story, but anyway.
I love it. And Emily?
I'm Emily from Emily Reads. I read mainly fantasy and romance. Um, my favorite book growing up, like in junior high, was The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. And
Oh,
I loved a lot of stuff World War II related, but I've never read The Hiding Place. And I think because I'd read so many others that I was just like, I'll put that off. So this is my first time reading this book. So
that's awesome.
Very cool. I love it. And it is a little different. I know in the past when I've done these read-alongs, we've done like more of a learning or a spiritual life kind of nonfiction. So this is the first time that we've done a memoir / biography. Like I guess it's a memoir. She wrote it.
mhm.
Yeah, so it is technically memoir. So it's a little different, which I think won't matter because I do think there's still a lot to glean from it and to talk about. But it will probably be more like a book club than like, although it potentially will be life-changing. And someone said there in the comments already that this changed their life. So there's a lot in it that we can
Mhm.
think
The
about. And
perseverance of faith is just
Yeah.
life changing in this book. Like
yeah.
the fact that she can stare in the face of all of that and still say that God is good. It's just
Mhm.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. Quick note about the movie. Jacqueline said the 1975 film was produced by Billy Graham and is phenomenal.
yes.
So in your
Okay.
classroom, when you do your Holocaust unit, since it's one of the few World War II without language and nudity. Okay.
That's true.
Cool.
There was one with nudity,
Yeah.
I do remember. But it was just
Yeah.
because of the Holocaust,
Yeah.
Yeah.
happening.
So we've kind of gotten your first impressions a little bit already, but how do you guys and you in the comments as well, any questions that we talk about, please feel free to answer and engage in the conversation. What do you think? What do you think so far? We're 7 chapters in. I know, Wendy, you said you couldn't stop. You just finished the whole
Yeah.
thing. But like, are you liking it? Do you find the writing like engaging? How are
I
you
was shocked, like, because I'm reading. For some reason, I thought Corrie Ten Boom was a kid when this took place. So I'm like, wait, she's 45. Like,
Yeah.
a mind shift change here now.
Yeah. I like how she flashes back to her childhood a lot. So she
Mhm.
really gives you the foundation of her character.
Yeah.
And it really shows how she shaped her character with her dad. And so I just love that she gives you glimpses of like, okay, this is why I've been able to endure this because my parents set this great foundation. And
Mhm.
even in like losing her mom and all of it, like she's just her strength of character, I think is what makes this book so bingeable. You're like, what is going to break her? Apparently
Yeah.
nothing, like, so it's been at like first glance, you think that it's going to just be like, a great telling of like, oh, faith. And then you get deeper and it's like, well, these are just really personal trials that she went through. And so it's amazing to see that she goes through personal trials even before she's sent away.
Yeah.
So like in her own family, the loss and her mom having issues, health issues. So yeah, she's gone through a lot, like the first 7 chapters.
Yeah, as I was reading it. Oh, sorry. I noticed like she almost has like a genuine talent for writing. Like you can just see it. Like God just blessed her with that gift. I struggle with a lot of nonfiction because a lot of the times it's more informational, but she has a way of like storytelling where like you can see like every single image as she's writing. I love the seeing her family and how she grew up and starting like years earlier before the war started and how her family grew up and stuff. It was really interesting and it kept my attention really well.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I wasn't like blown away by the writing specifically. I just feel like it's probably just a, more basic retelling of someone's life. But what is inspiring is the wisdom and revelation from God and her dad and her family that is imparted or embedded into the book. So I feel like that was what got me, was like, wow, they are a strong family and they're all encouraging one another. And I liked that.
Yeah. I was going to ask Keisha, are you listening to it or just reading it in print?
She's both.
She's listening. She is.
Okay.
She's not a historical fiction person, so
yeah, that makes a difference, I think. I love historical fiction. That's my favorite too. But yeah, I love how the little like nuggets of wisdom that are embedded into the chapters, I think are very cool.
Yeah, it's been really good.
Kim can't put it down. She's doing, okay, Tandem. I'm doing both as well because this edition is called Engaging Visual Journey.
so pretty.
And it has like among the pages, there's more pictures, I think, than in the other one. And then also just like, here's a picture of their house and like how that's
awesome.
So it just helps me to like,
I want that version. That's
it's
so
really cool.
It's a beautiful version. I know someone who owns it. And it's absolutely beautiful.
It's really pretty.
At first glance, I thought it was a coloring book.
No, I know, right? It gives that vibe.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
That's so neat.
I'm enjoying it. So I'm listening and then looking through here as well as I'm listening. Yay, Dia is here. I'm glad you're here, Dia. Dia, I'm sure this is not a first time read for you, right? I feel like you will have read this before. But I was going to ask, do you think it's important? So like the first 5 or 6 chapters are like pre-war, just kind of setting up the family, the structure of like what their house is like and who lives in the house and the watch shop and kind of introducing us to these different people in the family. Do you think that that's important?
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think it's important? Do you like that it's there? Like, yeah, we didn't just jump right in with them getting, or like right when they start working with the resistance.
Like, I think it's so important to know, like, even just that first chapter with the 100-year celebration of the watch shop, to have that background of like, they're so connected with the community. And then when Willem, her brother, later talks about like, you need to get your own sources. And she realizes, I have my sources. It's all the people in this community. We've already cultivated that. And then just the care that she's had to do for her mom, for her aunt who had diabetes, which I have a brother who is type 1 diabetic. And so reading through that, I'm like, if he had this back then, he'd be dead, or he's alive. But just thinking through like the medical tests that she had to do and the meticulous care that she had to go through to have them, that sets her up in planning for, I need to have meticulous care and cultivating my sources and getting the ration cards and figuring out how to hide people. And then when they have the architect and he comes in and is like, you have to do drills. Like, I never thought about the need for people having to do drills. Like, this is the first book that I've read where people are going, okay, we're going to have drills of like how to evade a raid.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love the different characters in the book because I feel like she learns a grace towards certain temperaments from each person in her family because her aunts are really, difficult. And then she has certain family members that can be just kind of quirky. Her father he's so gracious, but he's not super confrontational. So she learns like some restraint with him, like how to be really gracious and kind and slow to speak. So I feel like she learns something unique from each person that she knows in her family. And then they are constantly having, people who don't have a place to live, orphans or foster kids inside. So I feel like she's learning how to take care of different kinds of people and deal with different living situations and temperaments and, situationships. So I feel like that really sets her up for success later when she has a lot of different things to deal with.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So she has like a lot of grace towards people in general of all kinds of personalities and quirkiness and stuff like that.
Right. I love to, at the end of the first chapter, the first solid nugget that we have, she says, she's like thinking back about all these childhood scenes. She says, today I know that such memories are the key, not to the past, but to the future. I know that the experiences of our lives, when we let God use them, become the mysterious and perfect preparation for the work he will give us to do. So I feel like that sets it up so well. Like all of these things that she's talking about and all of the situations that she's had to walk through with her family and the characters, like you were talking about, Leah, like that is preparing them as a family, as a household, for the work God is calling them to do. So I feel like it sets it up so well right in that first chapter.
It does, and I feel like each family member has such a strength in either their relationship with God or how to deal with hardship that they teach her.
Yeah.
Like, is it Betsy or Betty? I forget her sister, the name. Betsy. When she's praying for the German soldiers who are bombing them, in that moment, it was like, man, sometimes it just takes someone in their different relationship with God and a different perspective on faith to like shake you up. And she's over there like, God, please listen to my sister because I can't pray for them.
Yeah.
I love how everyone shows her a different perspective of what a walk with God during trial could be like.
Yeah. I loved too when they figured out that Corrie worked better in the watch shop and Betsy worked better in the house. Like Corrie's plan always was to kind of be a homemaker and to run the household. But then as they switched places, I think it was because of Betsy's health for a bit there.
Didn't she have
her health? She took on more responsibility Corrie took on more of Betsy's responsibilities in the shop, and then discovered that she kind of had a love for it and skills and talents in that area. And Betsy also began to thrive in the home. So it's kind of cool.
She said, like, when I was in charge of the house, it was clean, but when she's in charge of it, it's polished.
Yeah.
I love it.
I loved getting to see her dad. I feel like just his wisdom. I mean, you can see why they were the way they were. Like their parents obviously, had a really good foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. The dad was my favorite. I just loved every time they met someone with the last name Smith, and he's like, "Oh, Smith, do you know this?" Like, know, so I used to know a guy. Like 3 or 4 times he kept saying that.
Like he was so wise as far as like matters of the faith, but when it came to like people and their motivations, like you are so naive. I felt like he was so naive because he was looking at the best and their potential and how God saw them. Like when Otto was there, the apprentice from the Hitler Youth there, like this is so obvious, like what he is there for.
Yeah,
and yet you're just like, he's just here to learn.
I laughed about whenever their competitor comes in and she's like, they're just scamming our prices and seeing what they can like do and get better prices. And he's like, well, praise God, someone can buy it for $5 less. And I'm like, what?
Oh my gosh.
That's the right attitude to have.
Yeah, it was really good.
Maybe not for like running a successful business.
No.
Yeah. But you make friends that way.
Building community.
Yeah.
He's more of like an artist. Like he had no business like running a business because he's not business minded
at all, right? Like I don't know what I charged that guy. It was just a joy to work on his watch.
It was so funny. I love it.
And I loved the scene. Such wisdom too. I think I love when a author can tell a story that's like such a good story, but like shows so much about someone's character. So like when they were she was on the train with her dad and asking about like sex sin.
Yes.
And the dad was like, can you lift up this watch case? She's like, I can't, it's too heavy. He's like, well, that's how it is with kids sometimes.
That was such a good I'm like going to save that for later for my kids. Like I was like, man, he's so
Yeah.
good at that.
So wise. I love it. And I love that she doesn't just say my dad was really wise, but she gives us all of these
Yeah.
glimpses of his character through these
Yeah.
vignettes almost. Like,
I
yeah.
think the greatest thing she learned is reliance on God through him, because even something as simple as like knowing how to fix a watch, he's like, I'm going to pray about how to fix it and God's going to reveal it to me.
Yeah.
And then he starts out with like, God, you made the universe and you did this, so you know how to fix this watch. And it's like, you know, it's a simple thing, but I think sometimes we don't understand it's the simple ways that we approach God that can be the most significant, because it's like that learned behavior to just rely on him for everything.
Right. Well, and then you see that played out as we get closer and closer to the war coming to their little town, and as they start to like get involved with stuff, and she just has a feeling or just knows that God is leading in certain directions. Like that's trickled down, that attitude that the dad and mom had about trusting in God and relying on him, and how that trickled down to how the rest of them.
Like with the dream, I don't want to take away. Does anyone else want to say anything? I feel like I'm probably talking too much. But whenever she talks about like the dreams, and Betsy's like, I just feel better knowing like those dreams can confirm that God already knows and he's already there.
Yeah.
Like he, you know, if he's revealing it to us, then he's already going to it's already in his hands. And so I thought that was just amazing. I loved that. Betsy was like the real, like her and the dad were the MVP of the whole journey. Like, wow.
I just want
and
one of my favorite parts
Corrie had was crazy.
The dream that who had?
That Corrie had, the dream that she had about.
Oh yeah.
Like I was like, what? Like that was crazy.
Yeah, we haven't even gone to
one
that.
Of my favorite parts was when she was going to get the food passports, and the guy asks her, you know, how many do you need? And she knew she needed 5, but God came through her and said, you need 100. And so she's like, 100. And I was like, yeah, that's God speaking. Like he knew that you needed more than what you needed. So I love that part.
Yeah.
I love that too.
I'm just
I like that. And I liked the time when she hears the noise and she checks on Betsy, like in the middle of the night, and then the bombing start, and then like the shrapnel was on her pillow.
Oh,
that
was great.
And Betsy says, there are no ifs in God's world, and no places that are safer than other places. The center of his will is our only safety.
Yes.
And like for me, that really hit home. I'm a teacher, and we did have a situation in April where we had a lockdown at my school. And there's a lot that's been going on as a result of like, how do we stay safe at school? And I had to, and there was a lot of anxiety from that for me. And it was like, you know what? Like bottom line, we can do all these different things to try to keep ourselves safe. But like, what really is, where is my safety found? Is it in the things that we try to do, or is it in the safety and security of my salvation?
Yeah.
That's such a great point. I love that you say, like that she said, and you reiterated, anywhere you go, you're safe. You know, it's not, there's no safer place than another. It's because you're with God, you're in his hands. Every place that you put your foot is like a safe space.
Yeah.
Because he's there and he's in you.
Yeah. So good. All right. I'm going to catch a couple of these comments because I've not been reading them. Chrissy said, I liked early on, she decidedly very aware of her purpose, her determination and selflessness for her family and others. Very, very early on, her faith was very real and tangible. I love it. Yeah, it's true. I love that too. I've worked with kids ministry for so long, and one of my pet peeves is when a church leadership will say the kids are the church of tomorrow. I'm like, no, heck no. The kids are the church right now. They're part of the church right now. And so that I reiterated that so much in my church that currently that's part of our language. Like we say that, like the kids are the church of right now. The kids are the church of today. Yes. And putting a value on that, because you're right. Even at a young age, her faith was very real and very tangible. And that's because of the people that were around her and how she was being raised. Yeah.
Right.
The glimpses of her mama are my very favorites of the whole story. And then Chrissy says the
Yes.
singing at the wedding.
All those things. I was going to say that.
Oh
that
my gosh. Yeah.
that was such a good part.
Yeah, loved it. Enjoyed getting to know the family background before the war starts. One issue I have had is keeping track of all the names. Yeah, there were a lot of aunties.
Yeah.
Like, Tanta this and Tante Jan. I don't know.
The one who kept talking about death all the time. Like, she's like 40. She's like, my day's coming any day now. I'm like, stop it.
Right, because there's like 5 Ten Boom kids, but then there's all these 3 aunties, plus mom and dad, all that live in that, and Willem. Like all these kids, all these people living. Nolly, Corrie, Betsy, Willem, Tante Jan. Love that Tante Jan had like the whole. And this.
Oh my gosh, she had the setup.
Yes, a lot.
Whole big spots. I'm like, Tante Jan taking up the whole house.
She was.
I love it. I think it's good that we get the backstory. I also think as the book goes on, knowing the characters will be even more important. I agree. Enjoyed the backstory, love of family, love of the Bible, their silent witness to all around them. Yeah. Authors ordered the book so well. True. Papa's love for everyone. He saw no differences. He did have one of those personalities where he just loved and cared about everybody. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that he taught them that like being poor is a mindset, because they were already like not, super well off, but they were helping all of these different people.
Yeah.
And she said, like, I never thought we were poor, because
Right.
I feel like poverty can be a mindset. You can think like, you can get discouraged about like, I don't have what other people have, and you can be comparing all the time, or you can just be giving all the time. And then if you're giving, you don't feel like you're lacking.
Right. Yeah.
It's a thing of gratitude. It's great.
Yeah.
And then the glimmers of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Little dad bringing all the humor. Your will is our only safety. So true.
Yes.
I love it.
I
So
also really love Pickwick, that
Pickwick.
Pickwick character. Like how he loved the kids so much, and like he had these cute little tricks to bring the kids to him. Like I would be in love with him. Like I probably would be timid at first, but he's just like a big sweetheart.
He's a golden retriever guy. He's so nice.
Yeah, it's so cool seeing how like the community that they had, like not just with all the people living in their house, but the people in their community who were often over for dinner or often like joining them for meals. Or
It Takes a Village is like the theme of this book, because he has a village in her life, genuinely, and in her house.
Yes.
Which we see come into play later. Like
I was going to say it grows.
Yeah.
The resources become, but
grows, and they have like that core group.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, so I want to just real quick talk about Carol. The chapter 3 that was a little different than the rest because it's really focused on her only kind of potential love.
Yeah.
I mean, she ends up by the end of chapter 7, she's in her 40s, late 40s, I think, even maybe 50
Yeah.
at that point. But so this is like her only love story. It's a little heartbreaking. I will say this is the only chapter that made me cry.
Yeah.
So far, I'm sure I'll cry lots more by the end, but so far, this chapter broke my heart. But it did feel different than the others a little bit.
There was a little bit of romance.
Yeah.
Within all the trauma.
Like the fact, like this was my favorite part, like the last page where it says, Lord, I give to you the way I feel about Carol, my thoughts about our future. Oh, you know everything. Give me your way of seeing Carol instead. Help me to love him that way, that much. And I'm like,
that was everything.
Like if we prayed that for every person in our life, can you imagine? Like if we prayed that way for everybody.
Yeah. And I feel like she was in that moment, like just kind of also saying like, he's in your hands, like your relationship, my relationship with God is more important than anything.
Yeah.
Well, and also God cares more about him than she ever could.
Yeah.
So
exactly. I thought that was a really sad letting go of what could be. Like it was very tragic.
Well, and she says that. She says, I was right before that prayer. It says, I was still in kindergarten in these matters of love. My task just then was to give up my feeling for Carol without giving up the joy and wonder that had grown with it. And so and then she said, I whispered this enormous prayer, what Wendy just read. Like, so hard because I know, like the love and joy that comes with those early kind of love, potential of love, all of that hope, then like holding on to that side of things while still letting go of the relationship that you were hoping for.
Yeah, doesn't she say something like, something to the effect of like, she must have grown because there's no way she could have ever said that before. Like, who is Corrie praying? Like, Corrie couldn't have done this before. I feel like there was something like she was shocked at her own prayer. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm thinking of a different part, but I thought she said something to that effect.
I don't remember, but
she's like, I could never have prayed this before.
Yeah.
That is really sad, though. That was probably the one part I was like, can't she just be an amazing hero and be very happy?
I know, right?
Her life. Can't she just have it all? But, you know, God knows, and God knew what the challenges in her life would be.
Have you ever read anything by Elizabeth Elliot?
Yeah.
So I don't know. This kind of like just made me think about like their relationship and how they were always like putting their faith in their relationship with God first. And they were like, basically, God, I will just be devoted to you and you only, and not even get married if that's what you want. And just her dedication in this chapter reminded me of that.
Yeah, Elizabeth Elliot is a missionary, and she's got really good books.
She has a powerful story as well.
Yeah, and doesn't she have like 3 husbands that she has lost along the journey?
Yeah. I think had she married Carol, had that relationship worked out, because his focus, like, reason why it didn't work out is he wanted to marry a woman with money, right? Like, if they were well-to-do and that relationship had worked out, I don't think any of the events in this book would have taken place.
Yeah.
Because of who the character that Carol had or lacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many people wouldn't have been saved. Yeah. She wouldn't have been in the mindset of taking care of those people. She probably would have been focusing on her family.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
And then I just wanted to touch on like the whole idea of, I mean, we've seen the strength of the character of this family. And then as they start to become more and more involved in the resistance, we see the one story with Nolly refusing to tell a lie at the very beginning, and they have someone hiding kind of like under the table, and whatever his name is,
I can't remember,
brought the Nazis right to their doorstep basically, and they got raided, and now they're under the table. Which I don't know, how do you guys feel about that? Because then, I mean, how do you think they felt about it too is another question, because we see the strength of their character and how they are relying on God, and yet now they're coming to a point where they are actively going to participate in deception and lies, and obviously we know kind of for the greater good, if you will, but like still conflict of
this was like a crisis of faith moment, I think. But in my opinion, I had to think of it like God is the highest authority. And if the authority of our earth conflicts with the higher authority, whose will is to prosper you, whose will is to make sure that you don't, get killed for your religious beliefs or being a Jew, I think that in this moment, because the hatred of that day and the motivations of the soldiers was to kill and was to persecute. And so I guess it would be like the highest authority is God. And so if you're lying to protect someone and you're doing it to because the authority of the earth governing conflicts with the authority of God, I do believe that in that sense, you're kind of exonerated. Like, you're okay to do that because you're abiding by God's will. You're conforming to the higher authority of protection and love and making sure that someone is safe for their belief in God. So I don't know.
Mhm.
Basically, essentially what they were doing was saying like the Jews, God's people, it was like a spiritual energy behind all of that hatred, right?
Mhm.
So it was the devil trying to just cut off this whole generation of people that was in God's covenant for so many years through the Bible and even now, and it's
Right.
God's chosen people. So I believe because maybe they could just see that it's a spiritual battle and it's not, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, it's spirits. So I feel like in that moment you could be okay to say I'm protecting what is God's, what is set apart for God. And I'm going to go against this earthly authority, which I know is actually backed by hell's authority and something dark. And I think in that way, they weren't actually defying God. Rather, they were standing their ground and saying no more. It ends here. So I just felt like that was kind of what I was thinking the whole time. And I know that they struggled.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
I wonder what the conversations were around the dinner table the next night
Yeah.
after Nolly had kind of given up these guys that were under the table. Like, I wonder if they were having these kind of conversations. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you can make the argument they're already going against the governmental authority by hiding the Jews in the first place. So
Right.
then, what is a lie? Then in that moment,
yeah.
Well, and they hid their radio too.
right?
But I was just thinking too, what I thought about is in the Bible where the midwives lied about the women going into labor quickly.
Yes.
They were like
Mhm.
they're into labor so quickly and we can't get to them in time. I'm like, well, here's like an example of how they were, putting God's will above like
Right.
what the authorities were saying.
Or Esther.
Or Moses, his mom
Yeah.
hiding him. It's all a lie.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, I'm trying to think of other things in the Bible. Abraham lying that his wife is a sister. Just
Oh, my
things for
word.
protection.
Yeah, but the whole Abraham lying about about Sarah, that then becomes very problematic, and there's clear this is not a good instance that you lied.
Yeah.
You can't really use that one as an example.
Just cancel that one.
Yeah, I just wonder what the family conversations were after that, because I don't think anybody was angry with her because they understood that struggle that she was having in her young mind. Like,
And I think this is kind of one of those areas where it's a matter of conscience for the person, and I think we have to be okay. I mean, I can just imagine they probably well, they're under the table. Like I think it's a matter of how you deliver that truth to make it be like, I'm being really completely silly here, clearly.
yeah.
So I'm able to say the truth, but because I'm being silly about it, they're thinking that I'm being goofy.
Okay, they're in the closet, they're under the table. Like, you're not lying, you're just being exaggerative. I love it. That's a good idea. You do that, Emily. Next time we need to lie for the greater good.
Oh my goodness. I love it. Tammy's here. Welcome, Tammy. Chrissy, I agree. Corrie had a higher calling. It shows how the Lord will not allow certain things to occur in our lives because he has a higher or greater purpose for us. Her story is so humbling.
Yeah.
I loved how the sister told the truth about where her brothers were without lying directly, but God kept them safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we move forward into the book, we're going to get a little bit more, it's going to get more intense. It's going to get a little bit more heartbreaking. Was there anything, I mean, I know we talked about the drills. Was there anything else that kind of surprised you, or having read, I know Wendy, you said you like historical fiction, and I know Katie, you do as well. Was there anything else that you read in this one that either surprised you or something that you learned about this time period? I know we're in the Netherlands, which is a different. We're not
bicycle light. I didn't know that was a thing.
The what?
Oh yeah.
You're telling the bicycle to have the light.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think just getting any perspective that isn't just like your traditional, World War II story, like it's always from our perspective. And like the Nightingale, that's from the perspective of France. And that's why I loved it so much, because I'm like, I didn't know any of this went on, because you just don't hear
Right.
about their stories.
Right.
And so just getting stories from different parts is always, I feel like, really good.
I agree.
Yeah, I try to put myself like, what would it be like to all of a sudden have rations for food and have to wait in line
Yeah.
for
Not have
for
a-
food and ration cards, and I don't
So
know.
my parents were older. They were 41 and 42 when I was born. So they were born in 1935 and 1936. So like for them, when they talk about the war, it's World War II. And they remember, the rationing. And my mom would always say, like, yeah, when the war was over, I just dreamed about having like this huge spread of food on the table, and just like having a big roast
Yeah.
beef and a big ham, and just being able to just slice the meat and eat it whenever we wanted. And like my dad was a big hoarder. Like I remember we had like a cabinet full of soap. Like, why do we need a cabinet full of antibacterial soap? I don't know.
He was
We would have
ready.
been perfect when, like, if he was still alive when COVID hit, he would have been set. But like, it really, like, growing up, I was like, yeah, I can see how the rationing,
Yeah.
like being born in the Depression and going through rationing really
Yeah.
impacted them.
That's what I was going to say, is I feel like that always stems from people who grew up super poor,
Mm-hmm.
because my husband's grandma is like a hoarder, and she just keeps everything, and she's got like 4 mixers. And his papa that passed away, he was like, one day, like, why do you have 5 mixers? And she's like, because if one breaks,
On breaks, you
and
need to
he's
have that
like,
backup.
you have like 5. Why do you? And then he goes, Wendy, Tom, do you want a mixer? Here. And so that's where we got one of our mixers, was that day. But she was always like that, because she grew up pretty poor. And so she just has that mentality. Like, her freezers are just full of tons of freezer food. And I'm like, you're never going to eat this.
The psychological trauma they probably went through, even after the war, that was the tendency they probably had, and they probably passed it down to a lot of generations. Like, we need to can and have a whole
Yeah.
like downstairs full of canned goods. Like, it was probably a whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, and also, in high school, I went to Europe on a band trip, and we spent a day in Amsterdam. So I did get to go see the Anne Frank, the Secret Annex. And these homes are tiny. Like, so for all of them to fit, they're on top of each other. You have no privacy. And the steps are super narrow and super steep. So I don't know how they lived without like getting at each other's throats,
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of
No.
like big living room. Like
No.
it was all bedrooms, and then like the kitchen and the watch shop. So there was nowhere to really congregate except around the table.
Yeah.
They didn't have like a family room, because Tante Jeanne had all that.
She literally had her own floor. It wasn't cool. Backing up, talking about like the family, how they were all kind of shoved into a small space. I love how they started their whole day with scripture reading in the morning. I love how she's like, well, today's like this 100th party. He's going to cut it short. And like, no, he's going to read the entire, John. Like, we're going to go for it. I loved how they really put the word of God first. And I feel like that's how they were able to live in such close-knit community and small spaces, because they just always put God's word first, put him first. And like, they didn't have a lot of fighting with their family, like it just seemed like they had a very peaceful home. And I think that's because they started their day off with Jesus every day. And that inspired me, like, man, I want to do that with my kids. Like every morning, let's get up. And she said, that's a memory she has. Like, he got up at the same time, he came down, and they immediately did the Bible. And so I just want to I want to do that in my own life and just see how different my day could be, my family culture.
Yeah.
Because theirs was great, even with the aunties.
I love it. Yeah, it does set the tone, right?
It does. It set the tone for the entire book, not just like her life, but it was like whenever he was reading that, about the hiding place in the Bible. And it was just like, wow, that scripture, it really captivated me where it says, like hide the word of God in your heart because, God, the Holy Spirit can bring it back to you. And in those moments where she was so destitute, it was those scriptures that she hid away in her heart and those core memories that she brought back to her, recollection, like, okay, well, Jesus is my hiding place. Like, I'm going to be okay. He's got me. So I loved that.
Yeah. I always love when I see the title in the book too. Like title spotting.
Yeah. It like went full circle. She titled the book that. Like,
yep.
Dad. I want him to be my dad. That guy was just amazing.
I was impressed when they were talking about the drills, like kind of going back to the previous question of like, did we learn anything or what surprised us? How small, like the entrance to the little secret room was kind of small. It was like the bottom part of the bookcase.
Yeah.
And they got their time down to, what did they say? Like 2 minutes, 90 seconds, 93 seconds.
90 seconds. Yeah.
That's crazy.
From wherever they were in the house, 93 seconds to get up into that room and like hide, like make it look like there was
the evidence. Yeah.
And then just
you left that.
to think about how small it is, so they had to be so quiet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you could barely breathe.
Right.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about like the baby.
I know.
Had to step away, and then that was just really sad. Speaking of quiet, like they had that baby and the mother, and they couldn't keep them there for obvious reasons because they couldn't be quiet, and so they sent them away, and then they ended up raiding that place. That made sense.
And also, when I think about stories where there is a hidden room, like Anne Frank, they spent all of their time in the hidden place. Whereas this story, they don't spend all their time in the hidden place. Like they're out as part of like interacting with the family.
Yeah.
And then ready to go up in there when necessary. And they kept all their things in there. And I mean, all of that. But I think that's a little different from other
it was
stories I'm aware of. Yeah. They're more integrated into the daily life of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I loved all the little details that they had to hide. Like, I never thought about flipping the mattress. Like, that totally shocked me. Like, I was like, nobody would know about that. Yeah. I was like, nobody would even think about that. Like, I don't even know how the guy did. And he's like, yeah, they'll look to see if it's warm. And I'm like, wow, like that's something you would easily miss.
Or like how much trash you're putting out on any given day.
Yeah.
Like if you're generating too much trash for the amount of people that you say are living here. Like, what?
That shocked me. The trash part was like, whoa, like you wouldn't even think of that.
But also, it's like, that means that if you're having to watch your trash, that means that everyone is watching you. Like, you cannot trust your neighbors.
Yeah.
And back then, they really couldn't because there were like guys everywhere on the blocks.
Well, and didn't it say that their home was only like a short distance away from?
Yeah, it wasn't too far from the prison.
Or wherever. Yeah.
That was great. I remember thinking that too about the mattresses. Like, man, I wouldn't even like the lump or how like warm it would be. Shocking. Can you imagine, like you said, Wendy, like you're all in there when you would have to hide in such close quarters? Like that would just be crazy. I liked how they came up with these clock phrases on the phone to like talk about
their code. Huh?
Code. And I was like, that's so ingenious. Like of how to like move people around or what they needed and whatever. That was really clever. I feel like that was just such like a God-inspired idea to talk that way about it so they wouldn't get caught.
Yeah, that was pretty clever. I'm just looking. There's different pictures in this book than what's in my book.
I was looking through the pictures too because I listened all on audio. I was planning to read it physically, but I really loved the audio.
Yeah, I love the audio too.
I just did it all audio.
I have audio as well. I wanted to tandem read, but I just have audio. But
there's a lot of really good pictures.
Yeah, there really are.
Which is always fun when it's a memoir, so it's a true story. So you get the pictures, like you get to see people and really see what they look like and stuff.
I think I might still buy the book though because there are so many great quotes that the says. Like,
and I like this edition, like this cover. I really like it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this is the 35th anniversary. And it has a foreword, which I did not read, by Johnny Erickson Tata, which I think is cool. So I have that. Actually, I think both of these have that foreword, which I didn't read.
I want to get your unique one.
I know. I'm like, now I need her edition.
I just want that
Yeah,
one.
that edition is stunning.
It's called An Engaging Visual Journey.
And they do other books in that edition too. Like they have a lot of classics.
Nope, they have 4, and I have them all.
Oh, they have 4. I thought there was more than 4. Sorry, just kidding.
Les Mis, A Christmas Carol, Hiding Place, and Hind's Feet in High Places, which we're doing in the summertime.
Ooh, okay.
Summertime. So
I don't think I've ever read that one.
that's gonna be different as well because it's more it's a
allegory.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Here it is.
Well, who was like y'all's favorite?
$13 on Amazon.
There you go.
Oh,
Not much.
Who was everybody's favorite character other than Corrie?
Other than Corrie, I mean, I just loved the dad.
yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
And the sister.
Betsy, I think,
Yeah.
might have been my favorite.
But I
Just-
think the dad was my favorite.
I also like I'm gonna go back to the Carl moment, and when Willem kind of warns Corrie off for Carl and was like, "Look, he's never gonna marry you.
Yeah.
He needs to marry." Like I was so angry with him when he did that, but I'm like, look, because I just felt like it wasn't very gracious and kind in how he phrased it, and I was like,
right.
he's a brother. He's an older brother. They don't have tact. That is how they do it. That's how my brothers would have said that to me if I was in the same position.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So true.
And the fact that he saw it coming, like,
Yeah.
because that was his thesis in like the mid 30s, was like, here's the path that Germany's going down. And it got him in trouble. And I'm like, everyone is seeing the signs.
Oh man, when they were at his church service and they all sang like the Dutch anthem or something, I forget what song they started singing.
Yeah. Yes. It was a Dutch national anthem that his son played. Yeah.
That was really amazing.
It was such a cool moment, but then I'm like, oh man, that's not going to end well for you.
No.
It didn't, and that makes me so sad.
Yeah.
I love that the dad was the first one to stand up and start singing, and then everybody joined. Oh,
The dad is just such a leader in the community. Like we just need more men like him that loves on the community, loves the kids in the community, guides everybody. It just, and like you said before, like he doesn't see status or differences.
Yeah.
He just sees
loves everybody. Yeah.
Or can we also talk about Bulldog, who with all the bulldogs, and then they're like, where are your bulldogs? And he was like, I killed them. Because like that was when I was heartbroken, because it was like I killed them because I was afraid if we got arrested and they're going to be looking for us, and then they're not going to eat and no one's going to take care of them. And so in order to prevent that, it's like that is heartbreaking.
Yeah,
that gives you perspective on how bad it was.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought you were thinking how he looks like a bulldog. How they were like, he looks just like his dogs.
Like, how weird is it that we all smile for pictures now, but back in the day, nobody smiles? Like, they're all like serious faces.
Yeah.
Because they
Like,
can't move.
all old pictures are like that. I'm like, why does no one smile?
Because they can't move, because otherwise the picture will get blurry. So if you smile, you're gonna wave. You might wave around that smile.
I feel like I don't move in pictures even when I'm smiling. I forget to breathe. Like, even now. But that's true. A lot of like the pictures back then, people looked really angry.
I know nobody smiles in them.
And also, their lives weren't easy. Like,
well, I know
they were very hard lives. Even if you were wealthy, they were hard lives. Like,
I don't have a lot to smile about, I guess. But I wonder if smiling became a cultural thing. Like, where did it start?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, she's smiling in this one.
Sweetest looking little lady ever.
He's so sweet.
He is.
Well, and I was looking at the timeline too, and I'm like, she's traveling all over the world at 80.
Yeah. I know. Like the fact that she was so old when this started, that took me a minute to realize. I was like, wait, what?
Uh-huh.
I couldn't have gone through half these things at my age, let
Yeah.
alone hers, and she
It's
was, like,
true. The
just
age that
chugging
she was.
along.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is in the book or not, but my dad told me a story about her when she did a talk um, back in like the 70s or 80s or something. There was actually a German soldier in the audience,
I know what you're talking
and yeah. Is it in the book or?
No.
Okay, I won't
Um,
spoil it then.
Well, I
No,
don't
it's
know.
not?
I don't know.
It was on the timeline that she forgives the German soldier.
Yeah.
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 I actually didn't. It was in another book that I was reading where they talk about at the very end. Yeah, she comes up and he apologizes for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was in the book Night that I read. It was like at the very
Oh,
end.
yeah.
They were talking about how,
Huh.
yeah, she was, I think Eli Wiesel, either he was in the room, I think he might have been in the room when this happened, where he saw a German soldier come up and say, like, I'm so sorry for what I did to you. And in front of everyone, she forgives him publicly on behalf of her whole
Yeah.
family. And it was, it was a moment. I think that's where I heard it, because Night was also just,
Oof, that's another good one.
Uh-huh.
the son and the father fighting over the bread. I'll never, in my entire life, I will never forget that scene. I don't know who's read that, but
Oh my word.
I haven't.
Years ago.
Yeah, it's often taught in schools.
Yeah.
Or used in schools for text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
I
I don't know,
have it. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
the unabridged version of that. So, well, actually, the original version that was translated, they actually told him, because I heard this in the notes at the end of the book, was like they told him it was too graphic, that they would not produce it if he didn't cut out huge chunks of it. So when they reproduced it in a different, language, they had to take out so much of it.
Wow.
And you can actually find the original manuscript, but it's in a different language.
Oh wow.
But yeah, they made him take a lot of it out because everyone would say, like, well, even more horrific things happened than this, but they wouldn't allow you to put it in the book.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like we have is there anything else that happened in the first 7 chapters that you feel like we haven't touched on that you were thinking about?
Well, the German soldier that helped her out, like, this
Oh,
guy just
yeah.
comes up into the shop to fix his
Oh,
watch, and
right.
he comes back again. And she's like, "Can I trust him, Lord? Like, do you want me to trust this guy who I have no idea who he is?" But he comes by and says, if you want to see your husband before he leaves, I'll give you a few minutes. And at that point, it's like, that you can trust him, and how
Yeah.
far, but
Right.
Yeah. I loved when Corrie was like, my sister's better at all the shop people and who they are. And she keeps running upstairs to like ask about certain customers because she doesn't know anything about them. I thought it was just so cute.
That would be me.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Wendy would be running to me asking me.
Yeah, I can't remember names at all.
Me and Wendy are best friends in real life. So she'd be like, who are they?
Let's see. Donna didn't realize she was as old as she was when all this was happening. Yeah. I think I had forgotten that.
Yeah. It took me a minute.
Yeah. Keisha read Night twice and liked it.
I did too. I read it twice too. It was just amazing. Oh,
The
You'll cry.
bulldogs broke my heart.
Any dog mom is sad about that.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, okay. We will wrap things up here then for tonight. Next week's going to be a lot more intense, I think. And
There might be tears.
as we get into more of her story. I have to change the time, everybody. I'm so sorry. As soon as I posted it, it was like the next day. I posted it just a couple days yesterday, the day before Friday night, whatever. And then Saturday I realized I have a conflict on Sunday evening next week. So I'm going to put it at 4 in the afternoon Eastern time, which is when I have done these in the past. So I apologize if you've already got it in your calendar.
Did you say you had a concert to go to?
Yeah, I play volleyball once a week, and one of the guys that I play with is in his choir at his church. And there's they have a jazz band that's playing, and the teen choir is singing, and I go to their Christmas concert every year, and it's really lovely. And I bring a friend with me who doesn't go to church, but she'll go for a concert. So I had already invited her to come with me to this concert. So it's kind of,
You don't wanna
Gotta
miss
go.
I need to not bail on her.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially since last time we had plans, I had to bail. I'm like, I can't do it again. I
Oh,
can't do
no.
it again. So yeah, so I have that concert next week, and I was like, well, I could make it later. I'm like, I don't want to make it later and do it afterwards. I'm just gonna do it in the afternoon. So I will change the time on the live. Just make note of it. It will be 4 p.m. Eastern. So
That should work for me.
hopefully
Yeah,
work for
me too.
everybody. And if it doesn't, you can always watch later. And thank you to those of you who are watching this later. I'm glad you're here watching. And thanks, ladies, for being with me. But we're gonna wrap it up for the evening. Enjoy reading the rest of it, everybody except Wendy, who's already finished.
I'm gonna have to refresh myself now.
Right? Yeah, enjoy reading the second half. It does go pretty quickly. Like when
Yeah.
I sit down to read it, like I just get caught up in it and I don't want to stop.
Yeah.
So yeah. But thanks everybody for joining in, and we will see you next Sunday.
Bye.
Don't forget to follow all these people. I put their links or their things in the description. All right, bye everyone.